She pulled the long arrow from the mortally wounded wolf, not knowing that she had just rescued the future king. One more arrow. Finish him. The cold male voice cut through the wind between the trees. Without a hint of warmth, several black-clad figures stood behind dead wood, their fingertips holding long arrows covered in wolf clan restraints. The arrowheads glowing with dark light meant to suppress ancient wolf power. The fallen wolf was massive, its silver-gray fur soaked in blood, the arrow wound through its shoulder blade still pumping out warm blood. Its strong healing ability firmly suppressed by the restraints. Karen's wolf eyes were tense and bloodshot, his limbs rigid and unable to move, the growl in his chest muffled and broken. The pressure of the Supreme Alpha completely locked down. The Crown Prince dies in the border wasteland. No one will suspect the regent. Another person spoke in a low voice, knocking an arrow and drawing the bow. The twang of the bowstring harsh and startling. The new king of Valerius will change hands today. I hid behind a low bush, my fingers gripping the rough hemp skirt so hard my knuckles went white, my blood almost frozen in my veins. I recognized these arrows. I recognized these dark guards loyal to the regent. They were hunting the only legitimate crown prince of the entire wolf clan. I could have hidden. I could have pretended not to see. Gone back to my nameless survival at all costs life. I carried a forbidden hidden bloodline. If I got involved in royal conflict, exposure meant certain death. But looking at that giant wolf on the brink of death, its pride still unbroken, even dying it refused to lower its head. All my hesitation collapsed. I burst out of the bushes, the sound of my footsteps startling all the dark guards. Where did this wild girl come from? The leader barked, instantly turning his arrow on me. Step back now, or die with him. I didn't step back. I threw myself down beside the giant wolf, pressing my palm against its cold, blood-soaked fur. The wolf's body trembled violently, instinctive wariness and ferocity crashing over meth. Oppressive force of a top alpha made it hard to breathe. My bones aching, but I didn't let go. You've already crippled him. I looked up at the killers, my voice clear but steady. A severely wounded man is no threat. Killing him now isn't courage. A mere wilderness orphan dares to speak of royal matters. The man laughed coldly, the arrow tip pressing toward my forehead. Get lost. Don't court death. I ignored him. I grabbed the arrow shaft with both hands and pulled with all my strength. The restrained arrow was embedded deep in flesh, every pull tearing at the wolf's bones and sinews. The bloodshot wolf eyes locked on me, suppressed ferocity and confusion twisting together. The giant wolf tensed all over from the pain, but never attacked me. I used every ounce of strength and yanked the arrow out. Black-red blood gushed out, but in an instant, it was purified and dissipated by the faint white glow unconsciously seeping from my palm. The restraint on his wolf power shattered instantly. The giant wolf's chest heaved, his choked breathing suddenly clearing. The dark guards' faces changed. It's the power of the forbidden bloodline. Kill her. The sound of blades cutting through the air came at me. I closed my eyes, waiting for death, but the pain I expected never came. When I opened my eyes, the enormous silver-gray wolf shadow was suddenly in the air, the torn wound healing at terrifying speed. The terrifying pressure of the Supreme Alpha sweeping through the entire forest, the low howl shaking all the leaves down. The remaining dark guards fled in terror, not daring to stay another moment. The wolf landed, the huge head slowly lowered, blood-red pupils locked onto me. With a predatory focus and a shudder of fate, a low male voice fell, carrying the natural commanding pressure of a top Alfano roar. But it made the wind in the entire forest freeze. Before I could recover from the shock, the escaping dark guards were gone, and the silver-gray wolf's form twisted, rose, reshaped. The sharp crack of bones was crisp and cold. In an instant, the man who had shed his beast form stood barefoot on the forest floor, silver hair wet against his neck, the unhealed wound on his shoulder now completely closed, only a faint silver scar remaining. Karen brushed the blood dust from his shoulder. His deep black eyes locked on me, sharp and cold, without a trace of warmth. Why did you save me? His question was direct and forceful, the interrogation style of those born to rule. allowing no evasion. I gripped my skirt and met his eyes. A life has no rank. A dying person should be saved. A wilderness drifter knows about honor. Karen stepped closer. His tall frame overwhelming. The fierce aura of a top wolf clan member surrounding him. Do you know who I am? Do you know who was chasing me? Sticking your nose into royal conflictiery, betting your own life. I don't know who you are. And I don't want to know about royal conflicts. My voice was calm. Every word honest. I only know that cutting down someone at their last breath isn't the right path. He suddenly laughed. A cold laugh without any warmth. The right path. In the kingdom of Valerius, power is the only right path. A weak person's mercy is always the cheapest burden. I didn't back down. Meeting his aggressive gaze. If mercy is a burden, you could have torn me apart when I pulled out that arrow. You're strong, but you never kill the innocent. That sentence made his fierce aura pause. This supreme alpha, who had lived by killing, who believed in neither good nor evil, had seen countless sycophants and cowards. No one had ever cut straight through to his core like this. Karen narrowed his eyes, his gaze falling on my palm, where the pure white light had long faded, but deep in his blood, an indelible pull remained. His wolf instincts were madly stirring. A fate bond he'd never felt before, pulling hard at his heart. There's something strange about you. He stepped closer, his voice low and rough. Your presence calms my wolf nature. My heart tightened, and I instinctively pulled my hand back, hiding the bloodline turbulence I was desperately trying to conceal. It's just ordinary mountain air. Ordinary. Karen looked down, obsession and certainty swirling in his alpha eyes. My wolf senses are never wrong. From today on, you don't leave my sight. I frowned immediately. I saved you. Why am I being imprisoned? Not imprisoned. Protected. His tone was hard, leaving no room for argument. The people who tried to kill me won't give up. They've seen your face. They know you have special power. You stay in the wilderness, and within 3 days, you'll be dead. I bit my lip and stayed silent. I had to admit he was right. The regent's dark guards held grudges. My hidden little cabin was no longer safe. Seeing me give in, Karen's tone softened slightly, but the authority remained. Come back to the capital with me. I won't enter the capital. I refused immediately. The capital is full of powerful people fighting. It has no place for someone like me. Now, you don't have a choice. He raised his hand, his fingertips cool, brushing lightly along my Jawan Alpha's testing, and possessiveness creeping in. This was the first time in his life he'd ever shown any concession to a stranger, breaking the cold rules he'd held for years, built only on power and contracts. I, Karen Valerius, never owe anyone. You saved my life. I'll protect you until I've repaid this debt. Before the words faded, the forest filled with the sound of hooves and clanking armor, the heavy approach of a large royal guard force. Far from the remnants that had fled, Karen's eyes iced over. He stepped in front of me in an instant, shielding me completely. His wolf power surging. They're here. His low voice was ice cold. But they're not my people. The clash of metal armor closed in from all sides. Dozens of guards surrounded the forest with drawn blades, the killing aura pressing down so hard it was hard to breathe. The man at the front wore black gold robes, his features dark and cunning. It was the regent, Lucius. His eyes swept over Karen, and he bent in a false bow, his posture disgustingly insincere. Crown Prince, I heard of the border attack and rushed here with troops through the night. Thank the gods you're safe. Karen didn't move. All his coldness was withdrawn, but his stance shielding me never loosened. His voice was indifferent and icy. Hard work, uncle. You're remarkably well informed. Lucius straightened, his gaze immediately falling on me, a flicker of calculation and cruelty in his eyes, though he kept a gentle mask. The wilderness is desolate. Why is the crown prince here with a common woman? My affairs are none of your concern. Karen's voice carried the weight of a top alpha, each word blocking the other man's probing. Withdraw your troops. Lucius's smile didn't waver, pressing forward, each word a hidden blade. I'm only concerned for your safety. My prince. The kingdom is unsettled. The elders have already decided to stabilize the crown and calm the court. A political marriage must be arranged for you immediately. I stood quietly to the side, not interrupting. Karen's expression darkened. I never agreed to any marriage. The crown is not decided by personal preference. Lucius's tone hardened. Invoking royal law. You are the kingdom's only heir. Marriage is your duty. The elders have chosen a candidate, the last orphan of the fallen Veen family. She will be sent to the capital today to formalize the contract. I went completely rigid. Veen. My family name. The family that the royals feared. That the world despised. That carried the forbidden bloodlineath only surviving heir. Me. Karen knew nothing of this. He only found it absurd. A cold smile curving his lips. So you use an assassination to force my hand. And then trap me with a boring contract marriage. You exaggerate. My prince. Lucius lowered his eyes. A smile hiding ambition. This is the best choice for stabilizing the crown. It's not about personal feelings. Only about the kingdom's fate. Marriage is a royal contract. How is that trapping? Karen was silent for a moment. The alpha's pride wouldn't let him accept being manipulated. But the military power was in Lucius's hands. A hard refusal would trigger civil war and hurt innocents. He glanced at me. His tone decisive. I'll agree to the marriage. Lucius's eyes gleamed with triumph. But I have conditions. Karen's tone shifted. His presence sharp and commanding. Until the wedding is complete. The people around may protect them personally. No one touches her. Lucius followed his gaze to me. Confusion deepening. But he didn't dare disobey openly. He nodded. Naturally. As you wish. My prince. He raised his hand. And all the guards withdrew. Leaving one last calculating sentence hanging in the air. 3 days. The capital awaits your return. My prince. To welcome your contract bride. The crowd vanished. And the forest fell silent again. My throat tightened. And I finally spoke. My voice soft but clear. You're marrying a woman you've never met. Royal marriages have nothing to do with love. Karen's voice was cold. All sharpness gone. Leaving only indifference. It's just a transaction to stabilize the court. I've long been used to binding my life with contracts. My fingers turned white. Hiding my panic and bitterness. The woman he was going to marry, she was right in front of him. The contract wife he saw as a transaction, she was the one who'd saved his life. Who shared a fate bond with him. His one and only mate. Karen didn't notice my distress. He only looked at me. His tone brooking no refusal. Come back to the capital with me. I'll keep you safe. When the wedding is over, I'll give you your freedom and send you away from all this conflict. I looked up at his cold, handsome face. My heart pulling in 2 directions. I was about to stand beside him as his contract bride, but I could never let him know I was the one he was marrying. The heavy oak doors were pushed open by attendants. The sound of leather boots on stone was steady and cold. Karen walked at the front of the procession. His silver-gray hair tied at his neck. His alpha pressure making every noble in the hall lower their heads. I shrank behind the attendant. My coarse clothes deliberately hiding my skin. Afraid to meet his eyes. On both sides of the hall stood royal ministers. Lucius was at the upper side. A calculating smile on his lips. Crown Prince. Today is the day of the marriage introduction. Lucius pointed to the veiled figure at the bottom of the steps. This is the Veen orphan chosen by the elders, your contract bride. Karen's gaze swept over me without a ripple. His tone distant and cold. Remove the veil. The attendant stepped forward and pulled the thin veil away. My form fully exposed to everyone's eyes. Whispers rippled through the hall as nobles looked at my worn clothes and dull ornaments, their contempt plain. Karen looked me up and down. His eyes holding only complete unfamiliarity. No trace of recognition or warmth. It's you. His question was flat. Like he was inspecting an object used to exchange power. I lowered my gaze and answered softly. Yes. My prince. Do you know what this marriage means? Yes. It's a contract to secure the crown. Lucius stepped in at the right moment. Stirring the pot. The Veen family has long no army. No land. The crown prince needn't have any expectations of her. Just complete the ceremony to appease all parties. Countess Serafina would be a far more suitable match. But the elders insisted on this girl. A blonde woman named Serafina stepped forward, staring at me with contempt. A wild girl raised in the mountains, standing beside the future Wolf King. Once you enter the palace, try not to embarrass the Valerius royal family. I said nothing, standing still. Karen glanced sideways at Serafina and coldly scolded. You don't speak here. Serafina's face went pale, and she slunk back into the crowd. Karen returned his gaze to me, his voice without a trace of softness. After the wedding, you'll have the title of princess, food, and clothing. But don't expect warmth. I won't give you extra attention. Court business will occupy me entirely. Stay in your side palace and don't cause trouble. I understand your limits, my prince. As I finished speaking, Karen's nose twitched slightly, his brow furrowing. The faint, clear scent from the wilderness, the one that calmed his wolf nature, was unmistakably around him, perfectly matching the scent of the woman before him. He stepped forward, his presence pressing in on me, his low voice taking on a barely perceptible tension. Lift your head. Let me see your face. I slowly looked up, meeting his deep black eyes. Karen's pupils contracted sharply, his wolf power surging uncontrollably. He finally recognized her, the woman he saw as a transaction tool. An emotionless contract bride. She was the girl who, in that wilderness, had pulled the restraining arrow from his body and saved his life. Karen stepped closer again, the sound of his boots on stone heavy enough to shake the floor. All conversation in the hall stopped, the nobles and ministers holding their breath and backing away. Lucius noticed something wrong, coughed falsely, and tried to smooth things over. Why is the crown prince so worked up? She's just an orphan from a fallen family. Shut up. One word, carrying the surging wolf power of a top alpha, froze Lucius in place, his fake smile stiff. Karen's gaze was fixed on me, his low voice barely controlled, asking only me. In the wilderness, the one who pulled out my arrow, was it you? My fingers clutched my worn skirt, nowhere to hide. So I answered honestly, it was me, my prince. Why didn't you say anything when we met? I knew you saw this marriage as a power transaction. Admitting the truth would only cause trouble. He let out a low breath, the cold shell he'd held for years cracking apart. The rigid contract code he'd lived by, built only for royal power, crumbled. He'd never made an exception for anyone. But from that first day in the wilderness, my calm, pure nature had already pulled him in trouble. Karen looked down, his presence heavy around me. From that day on, my blood has been stirred by you. That wasn't just kindness. Serafina couldn't hold back, stepping out of the crowd with a sharp voice. The crown prince is just momentarily confused by a wild girl. She's from a broken family. How is she worthy of such regard? Worthy or not is decided by my wolf heart, not by you. Karen's cold gaze swept over her, his tone without warmth. Don't appear before me again. Serafina went pale, pulled back to the corner by her attendants. Lucius's eyes flashed with intense wariness as he plotted his next move. But his tone remained mild. The crown prince shouldn't be swayed by momentary emotions. A royal marriage concerns the entire wolf territory. It cannot be changed by personal whim. The marriage contract was made by you, but my heart isn't yours to control. Karen turned and positioned me at his side, facing the full hall. Before, I saw this as a transaction. Now I know I won't treat her as a bargaining chip. The ministers erupted in murmurs, elders exchanging looks of disapproval. I gently tugged his sleeve and whispered, my prince, you don't have to oppose everyone for me. It's not worth it. I've never thought it wasn't worth it. He looked down at me, his voice shedding all coldness, holding a tenderness even he hadn't noticed. In the wilderness, you didn't fear the killers and you saved me. That kindness is worth more than all the nobles' fake calculations. Before the words finished, Eric, his loyal deputy, burst into the hall and knelt on one knee, his voice urgent. My prince, I found something. The assassins who ambushed you were all raised privately by Lucius. When the assassination failed, He used the marriage to bring this girl to you, planning to use her forbidden bloodline against you before the elders. To strip you of your inheritance. Karen's temperature dropped to freezing. He turned to look at the outwardly calm Lucius, his eyes full of murderous intent. Lucius heard Eric's report, his false calm shattering instantly. Nonsense. A deputy fabricates charges to drive a wedge between royal uncle and nephew. This girl carries a cursed hidden bloodline. The real danger beside the crown prince. Karen stepped half a pace in front of me, his wolf pressure unfurling, shaking the very pillars of the hall. My deputy never lies. Raising assassins to kill the crown prince. You can't deny that charge. The crown prince convicts me based on one man's word. Lucius stepped back, his eyes sweeping over the elders with their staffs. Raising his voice deliberately. Honored elders. Look, this Veen orphan grew up in the wilderness. She carries the forbidden witch-wolf bloodline that bans human-wolf coexistence. If she stays beside the crown prince, the entire kingdom will suffer bloodshed. Several old line elders immediately agreed, stepping forward to urge Karen. My prince, the law clearly forbids witch-wolf hybrids. You must not stay close to her. She should be imprisoned in the dungeon pending judgment. Serafina seized the moment to step forward, her tone dripping with feigned grievance. The regent speaks the truth. I sensed something strange about this girl's aura from the start. She must have bewitched the crown prince, corrupting his royal mind. My hands tightened at my sides, cold seeping through my limbs. I knew that once my bloodline was fully exposed, fire and death awaited me. Karen looked back at me, his voice steady and reassuring. Don't be afraid. As long as I'm here, no one touches you. The crown prince is blinded by false affection. Lucius pressed forward, throwing out a carefully crafted lie. That wilderness rescue was a staged act between you two. She hid there, waiting, using her bloodline to confuse your alpha instincts. Her only goal is to steal the throne. The sharp accusation ignited the hall, suspicion turning on me. I never plotted for power. I looked straight at Lucius, my voice clear and strong. I just happened to be there that day. If I had planned this, I would have let the killers finish you and saved myself the risk. Words are just words, Lucius sneered, turning to the elders. In 3 days, we'll hold a full clan trial. We'll examine her bloodline mark publicly. Then all will be clear. The elders nodded in agreement, no one speaking for me. Karen clenched his jaw. He knew my pure nature. But the ancient laws stood, and the elders held the trial power. He couldn't shield me outright, so he temporarily retreated to hold the line. On trial day, I'll be there. Until then, no one takes her or imprisons her. Lucius pretended to yield, his eyes hiding a triumphant cruelty, and bowed. Of course. As the crown prince wishes. Only after the trial. I hope you'll see her true face. The ministers slowly filed out, leaving only Karen, Eric, and me in the hall. Karen turned, his fingers lightly touching my shoulder, his voice tight with suppressed anxiety. Within 3 days, I'll uncover all of Lucius's forged evidence and clear your name. Eric knelt and reported in a low voice. Sir, Lucius will send men into the side palace tonight to steal anything that proves her bloodline, to use in the trial. Before he finished, a black-clad figure flashed past the window, clearly eavesdropping for some time, and sprinted toward the dungeon to find the bloodline token I'd hidden. I hurried back to my assigned chamber, pulled up the hidden panel under the bed, and my blood ran cold. The space where the bloodline-marked cloth had been was empty. Karen followed me in and caught my sudden pallor. It's gone. The cloth that proves the Veen bloodline. The eavesdropper took it. Eric pushed the door open, a strip of black fabric in his hand, slapping it on the table. I followed the spy. He delivered it to Lucius's study. At tomorrow's trial, the regent will use it to accuse you of hiding your forbidden bloodline. Karen's fingers tapped the table, the rhythm hard and cold. His alpha fury pressed beneath his words. He planned everything: assassination, marriage, trial, all to hollow out my claim. My prince. We could storm the study and take it back. Eric raised a hand. No. Karen shook his head. Breaking into the regent's residence without the elder's permission only hands him what he wants. Lucius is waiting for me to act rashly and brand me a traitor. I leaned against the wall. My voice calm. You don't have to take risks for me. I can defend myself at the trial. The elders are bound by centuries of prejudice. Your defense won't be heard. Karen walked to me, standing so close his wolf scent wrapped around me. That day in the wilderness. You faced the killers to save me. Now it's my turn to protect you. The next morning, the trial hall was packed with wolf elders and nobles. Lucius stood at the center of the platform, holding the cloth marked with the pale light pattern. Look here. Everyone, this is the proof of the Veen family's witch-wolf bloodline. This woman deliberately hid her identity to get close to the crown prince, intending to use forbidden power to control the future wolf king. Shouts of condemnation rose from the crowd. Seraphina stood at the front of the noble ranks, shouting in agreement. The law clearly states, those with witch-hidden blood are to be burned. Elders, give the order now to protect the purity of the royal bloodline. Several senior elders raised their staffs, ready to pronounce judgment. But Karen strode up to the high platform, silver-gray wolf fur spreading from his neck to his arms. The ancient alpha pressure filling the hall. Before you pass judgment, listen to what my agents have brought back. Eric pushed a battered assassin into the hall, the same man who had shot Karen in the forest. Lucius's face changed. And he shouted, a condemned prisoner's confession isn't evidence. It's all torture-induced lies. Whether it's lies, we'll ask. Karen looked down at the prisoner. Who ordered the ambush in the border forest? The prisoner looked straight at Lucius, his voice loud enough for all to hear. It was the regent. Lucius. He promised me land and a high wolf clan rank if I succeeded. The hall erupted, the elders' staffs lowering, their eyes on Lucius filled with doubt. Lucius, seeing things turn against him, lunged forward and pointed at the hidden mark on my neck, screaming, even if the assassination is true, her forbidden bloodline can't be denied. She shouldn't exist, she must be punished today. He rushed toward me, his fingers carrying sealing power, trying to rip open my collar and expose the mark to everyone. Karen stepped in front of me, throwing his arm out to shove Lucius aside. The clash of metal armor echoing through the hall. Touch her, and I'll break every ounce of your wolf power. Lucius staggered back, his eyes burning with hatred as he screamed at the elders. You see, the crown prince attacks his own for a woman with a forbidden bloodline. He's bewitched. He doesn't deserve the throne of Valerius. Today, I purge the royal blood for the late king. A few conservative elders hesitated, raising their staffs, and many nobles, stirred by his words, began to close in. Eric and his loyal guards leaped onto the platform, drawing their swords to defend the high ground. Whoever threatens the crown prince commits treason. Treason. Lucius laughed coldly, throwing out several forged letters. These are evidence of his secret dealings with the Veen orphan theory, conspiring to overturn the clan's laws. This is the real treason. Karen glanced at the scattered papers, his voice calm but ringing with finality. The ink is still wet, and the pattern matches the ink in your private study. Eric already has the evidence. Your forgery fools no one. He reached out and gently took my wrist, pulling me half behind him. The silver-gray wolf markings spread along his skin, and the golden bond lines of a destined mate slowly appeared where we touched, clear for all to see. The hall went dead silent. One of the eldest elders spoke, his voice trembling. It's a heaven-made bond. The mate mark of a top alpha seen once in 100 years. A destined mate with a forbidden bloodline. How does the law decide? Another elder asked quietly. Karen looked around the hall, his voice solid and unwavering. The old law banned witch-wolf hybrids because our ancestors feared unknown power. But her blood has never harmed anyone. That day in the forest, she risked her life to save me. Her power calms an alpha-S instinct. It's a gift to our clan, not a curse. He turned to a pale-faced Lucius, his tone ice-cold. Assassination of the crown prince, forgery of evidence, inciting clan conflict, all capital crimes. You're under arrest, sent to the silent dungeon for life. No release. Wolf guards stepped forward, seizing the struggling Lucius and dragging him out. Seraphina, seeing her support fall, shrank deep into the crowd. Not daring another word, Karen turned back to the elders. His posture open, yielding nothing. Before, I saw marriage as a contract of power. But Isolde and I are mates by blood. There's no need for a political marriage. I won't use her bloodline to secure the throne. I will, as Wolf King, rewrite the old laws and welcome all mixed-blood clan members. The elders exchanged glances and finally lowered their staffs together, accepting the crown prince's ruling. Karen turned to me, his fingers gently fitting against my palm, the golden bond lines glowing brighter, softer. From now on, you don't have to hide your bloodline. You don't have to fear the world's judgment. With me as king, no one will ever make you hide again. I looked up at him, my voice soft and steady. Back then, I only dared to save you from the bushes. I never imagined I could stand beside you. Not imagining. Destiny, Karen answered softly. That marriage contract, once meant to bind power, will become our blood vow, not for the court. Not for scheming, only for what we feel for each other. Months later, a new coronation was held in the Capitol Hall. Karen was formally crowned as the Wolf King of Valerius. I stood beside him, the pale light pattern of my bloodline mark no longer hidden on my neck. All clan branches came to pay homage. The revised laws were posted at the city gates. The previously exiled mixed-blood wolves were all granted places to belong. When the ceremony ended, only the two of us remained in the hall. Karen raised my hand and slid a silver wolf crest ring onto my finger. From now on, you are my queen and my one and only mate.